Welcome to Curious Mondays, your weekly dose of inspiration from Hyper Island. I'm one of the learning facilitators at Hyper Island, and today I'm going to talk to you about the transformative value of curiosity in leadership and how we can become better leaders by looking within. I thought about the role and application of curiosity during my creative days as a CEO and also as a global leader when I was working for some of the network agencies. And whilst I was very curious about client challenges and their brands, what I was less curious about, because everything was more of a formula if you go back some 8 to 10 years ago, I was less curious about the need to innovate within the agency, which sounds a bit paradoxical, and even for myself, being curious. So Hyper Island has kind of taught me to, as within the master's course, to be more curious, because it's part of one of the digital skills you need in moving into this new world. So why is curiosity important in leadership and leading teams? We can get too comfortable in what we're doing, the routine. We get better in our everyday routine as stuff. And that seems fine. But occasionally when we look up and we see change, is when it kind of hits us. What's going on here? Instead of being curious, we've been sticking to what we know. We dismiss these changes as not being relevant, something that will not affect me, and I don't know what to do about it. This new metaverse concept is for somebody else. So there can be a mindset once you're locked into what can be the daily grind of work, not to be curious because you're satisfying your client needs or the job role that you're performing. But actually in this new world, curiosity is particularly important. And curiosity can help you overcome roadblocks, your biases, your set ways of working, your set rituals, beliefs, and behaviours. Curiosity might help us to see new perspectives. It depends on your mindset. If you have a growth mindset, which is important, that will help you look and see new perspectives. To challenge a point of view. Often we might be stuck and we don't get a chance to challenge points of view. Curiosity can help bring new ways of working, new perspectives, new insights, new understanding, and deeper connections with your team. Curiosity can challenge what you know already or what you don't know. So fairly important, curiosity can help alleviate some of these seen or unseen roadblocks that you might have in doing business or in your daily life for that matter. Don't know if you recognize this photo, but it's an old one from Star Wars, the first movie. And they were in a very uncomfortable environment and this compactor was squashing them together. So there's a level of uncomfortableness that comes with being curious as well. And I'll tell you why. Because it involves uncertainty. And as you know, businesses want certainty, excuse me, or in our lives, we want certainty. But the reality is that there isn't any certainty, besides taxes, of course, and death. But curiosity can be an experiment that you don't know the outcome. So that's why you're going to feel uncomfortable. Not knowing how people will react, especially with teams. What will they say? What will they do? How can you manage this? How can you get certainty? So curiosity can come with some uncomfortableness because you're going to be moving out of your normal sphere of understanding and you're going to be creating new understandings and new views of the world. So we need to be able to say, I don't know what the answer might be or what to say. I need to keep listening and value the journey of discovery. There may be more listening that's required with curiosity as part of that discovery process that you may be going through. And there's also a level of vulnerability that comes with being curious because you can't control the outcome. And it does connect with the earlier presentation I did on vulnerability, which is all part of leading teams and being a leader. Curiosity is also a catalyst for change. And that's one of the reasons why you are being curious and looking at the world. However, curiosity is the marker also for self-growth and learning. Being curious also kind of connects with this signpost that might say, okay, I need to do some self-growth and I need to do some more learning, and that curiosity will help you. It will help you explore things that you might have been afraid to ask. Problem areas of self-inadequacies, or team pitfalls, or areas of unknown excellence. It might bring a spotlight and a lens to truths you may not want to accept, which again may be a catalyst for change. Curiosity is one of the transformational values for growth, empathy, and innovation. And again, they're values that are valued in the digital transformation and also yourselves as leaders. And of course, curiosity can be both outward and inner. Inner in being curious about why I'm behaving a certain way or doing something a certain way, or that I'm not listening, and also outer in terms of discovery. And of course, this is all predicated on knowing yourself. You can't, if you don't know yourself, you're not going to be able to know others and acknowledge and recognize that you've got a lack of, or there's a need there for curiosity, and that you've been reliant upon and always known how I've acted. And in this world of continuous change, knowing yourself is just so important. Sometimes that acknowledgement can come through in tough landings, unforeseen explosions, and very difficult realization around one's ability to change or adapt to what is in a new digital landscape. So there may be scenarios that may cause explosions. There might be things that are clashing together that may force you to look at how you're being curious. But knowing yourself first is just so important. Thomas Edison was an inventor, and as you know, he invented the incandescent light bulb. And what was very interesting about how he used to screen job candidates was asking them, would they like some soup? Sort of like a bit of a strange question. But he was a very curious man, and as you know, curiosity can also lead to innovation, and it's part of the set within it. So what he used to do is take the candidates to a restaurant and order soup, and he would watch to see if they put salt and pepper on their soup before they drank it, or before they ate it for that matter. So he reasoned that those who added seasoning to their soup before tasting it had no place in his business, because the absence of curiosity and willingness to ask questions were antithetical to innovation. So I thought that was a very interesting way in which he would determine whether someone was going to be curious or not. So now more than ever, there's a need for innovation at every level of an organisation, and it's predicated on the fact that technology is moving so fast that we need to innovate in teams and think about it on a daily basis. It's not someone else's job, it's our job to do. Leaders need to be able to facilitate an innovative mindset with each member of their team, to ask why, to question the status quo and how things can be done better. In the past, that may have not have, the rigor may not have been there as it needs to be today because the changes are so quick. Leaders themselves must be driven by curiosity, so to navigate a constant changing world. Why is that happening? Why is there the metaverse? And a world where no one person has all the answers, as we well know. So being curious about what other people hear, other opinions, being open to things that you may not believe is true. All these things are part of the growth mindset and being curious as leaders that will help you in managing and leading teams. There's a documentary called Get Back by the Beatles, and it was the group developing their last album. This is a typical example of a team. during that time, George, when they were producing their last album together, it was very obvious that Paul wanted to control everything. John Lennon didn't want to really be there, and Yoko Ono stuck to him like glue. George Harrison left at one stage. They had 21 days to produce a new album, and there was talk of them doing a concert, which they really didn't want to do. And of course, Ringo Starr was just happy to be there, as usual. But what was very interesting in the process of the 3 weeks, and it's worthwhile looking at the documentary, is their genuine vulnerability they showed in front of one another when they were developing the album. They also developed and presented behaviours of trust, and this was the glue that held them together. They didn't hold back with any of their comments. They worked with one another. They listened to each other. They huddled, as you can see them at the moment. They bounced off ideas, and you probably heard them talking when they were trying to go through some of the songs. They were bouncing off some ideas, lyrics and thoughts. They looked at different perspectives and chords. They spoke openly, and they were visibly emotionally vulnerable during this time. But one of the keys for each of the four was the fact that they were curious about what each of them wanted to contribute, even though one of them, George, ran off at one stage, but he came back. They got him back into the team. They did not dismiss any input. They did not assume anything. Their openness, curiosity, and vulnerability led to better work, new ideas, and an innovative piece of musical work that was finalised with a rooftop performance that had not been done before. Now you probably hear about it, but at the time it was like, aren't they going to do a TV show, or aren't they going to do a concert? They decided to do on top of, which was very innovative. So this is a great example of what a high-performing teams look like. You're going to have some dramas at times, that they were very open, trustful, but vulnerable at the same. And there was self-leadership there as well, you could probably see. There's going to be disagreements and different points of view, of course, but as a team, they collaborated, kept their curiosity that helped them create and innovate like no other band. So curiosity, the dictionary meaning is a strong desire to learn something. I think it's a little bit more in the context of leadership. I think it's about seeing diversity, uncovering the hidden and connecting truths around the networks, yourself, people, and ideas. So curiosity doesn't really live by itself, but within the context of vulnerability and the courage to seek out the unknown. And of course, like always, and as we say at Hyper Island, to ask the right questions. So curiosity is also coupled with being courageous and vulnerable. So in terms of my time in the agency world and coming back to Hyper Island, I've relearned and remembered the value of curiosity and how it can transform leadership and teams. So this is it for Curious Mondays. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give your thumbs up and stay curious, and we will see you next week.